Welcome to the Bald Brad Show. Our lead story of the day is regarding the report that was just dropped by Special Counsel John Durham on the findings about the FBI's handling of the Trump-Russia probe, and we're going to get into the nitty-gritty, folks. But before we jump into any of that, as always, support a true American patriot by hitting that like and subscribe button. Leave us a short, sweet comment down below. Your help support would be greatly appreciated. Well, folks, this was a 320-page report. I ain't reading all of it. So we got a great piece here by Luke Rosiak that says Special Counsel John Durham, who was tasked by former Attorney General Bill Barr to examine the propriety of the FBI's investigation of President Trump, released a 320-page report on Monday that found that the FBI, are you sitting down for this? Are you listening? Had no evidence to support a Trump-Russia scandal when it began its investigation and found, quote, sobering differences in how it approached the Trump probe compared to other politically sensitive investigations. Oh, isn't that just lovely? But no bias, you guys. No witch hunt here. This is insane. Trump was right. Trump was right. This was a witch hunt. Let's continue. It said the FBI immediately opened an investigation, a full investigation, based on a brief note from an Australian diplomat recounting that he had met with George Papadopoulos, a volunteer with the Trump campaign, which he mentioned that Russia might have information negative to Hillary Clinton, but it was good enough for them to open an investigation, folks. Good enough for that. But you have Joe Biden on film with the quid pro quo, but no investigations, folks. Not even batting of an eye. But you have Donald Trump here and whispers of something, not even real concrete evidence, just whispers of something, and they're opening up a full-fledged investigation, spending millions of dollars. It's insane. Well, at the time of the opening of Crossfire Hurricane, the FBI did not possess any intelligence showing that anyone associated with the Trump campaign was in contact with Russian intelligence. Anyone associated with the Trump campaign, again, was in contact with Russian intelligence officers at any point during the campaign. There was nothing. Again, there was nothing. The probe later relied on the Steele dossier, which came from a circular loop of people, how convenient, with little insight into Russia. This gets worse and worse as time goes on. Like, the more we read, it just gets way worse. Except that some of them had been on the FBI's radar for possible misconduct or ties to Russian intelligence in their own right, it said. The FBI knew it was nothing but rumor and speculation. But hey, let's open up an entire investigation about it. All about rumors and speculations. This is wild, you guys. This is wild. Way misuse of our government. Overreach of power. Going after a political opponent. But we're not a banana republic, folks. This is nuts. This is nuts. Upon receipt of unevaluated intelligence information from Australia. This is from the report. This is an exact quote. Yeah, you heard me correctly. Upon receipt of unevaluated intelligence information from Australia, the FBI swiftly opened up the Crossfire investigation. Rather, Crossfire Hurricane investigation. I gotta make sure I get that right. In particular, at the direction of Deputy Director Andrew McCabe, Deputy Assistant Director for Counterintelligence Peter Strzok, opened Crossfire Hurricane immediately. Strzok, at a minimum, had pronounced hostile feelings towards Trump. Exact quote. Yeah, at a minimum, you're damn right. That man, through those text messages, really didn't like Trump. And just through a whispering of stuff, you just open up an entire investigation. Quote, the matter was opened as a full investigation without ever having spoken to any person who provided the information. You heard that correctly. The matter was opened as a full investigation without ever speaking to anybody who provided actual information on this. Further, the FBI did so without, 1, any significant review of its own intelligence databases, 2, collection and examination of any relevant intelligence from other U.S. intelligence agencies. Oh my God. 3, interviews of witnesses essential to understand the raw information it had received. Or 4, using any of the standard analytical tools typically employed by the FBI in evaluating raw intelligence. Basically, they did something different than what they normally would have done. They didn't have really anything to go off of. So rather than feeling out things like they normally do, in which the matter of the FBI possesses in terms of what their normal procedures are, they did something totally different here with Donald Trump. I know it's not a shock to any of us. We've been yelling this for years. Donald Trump's been screaming to the skies this witch hunt, that they're going after him, that they're doing things differently, and finally it's come out there full in the open. Total exposure going on right now. Quote, had it done so, the FBI would have learned that their own experienced, listen carefully, their own experienced Russia analyst had no information about Trump being involved with Russian leaders or their officials or their leadership officials, nor were others in sensitive positions at the CIA, the NSA, and the Department of State aware of such evidence concerning the subject. Nobody had a clue. Nobody knew anything. In addition, FBI records prepared by Peter Strzok in February and March of 2017 show that at the time of the opening of Crossfire Hurricane, the FBI had no information. Again, you're going to see this time and time again in this report. No information in its holdings indicating that any time during the campaign, anyone in the Trump campaign had been in contact with any Russian intelligence officials. It's not like, oh, there was a few people sporadically or maybe one or two. Nobody. Nothing. In the 18 months leading up to the 2016 election, the FBI required to deal with a number of proposed investigations that had the potential of affecting the election. In each of those instances, the FBI moved with considerable caution. In one such matter, the FBI headquarters and department officials required defensive briefings to be provided to Clinton and other officials or candidates who appeared to be the targets of foreign interference, it said. In another, the FBI elected to end an investigation after one of its longtime and valuable CHSs went beyond what was authorized and made an improper and possibly illegal financial contributions to the Clinton campaign on behalf of a foreign entity as a precursor to a much larger donation being contemplated. But no investigations into that. Nobody's going to look under the hood under the Clintons or the Bidens or anybody. And in a third, the Clinton Foundation matter, both senior FBI and department officials placed restrictions on how those matters were to be handled, such that essentially no investigative activities occurred for months leading up to the election. Now, how convenient. How convenient, because the Clinton's name's on it. You guys see it's the Clinton Foundation. Nobody wants to look under the hood on that. The stuff that you would find is probably head spinning. These examples are also markedly different from the FBI's actions with respect to other highly significant intelligence it received from a trusted foreign source pointing to a Clinton campaign plan to vilify Trump by tying him to Vladimir Putin so as to divert attention from her own concerns relating to her use of private email server, it said. This is coming from the report, you guys. This isn't like a reporter just writing this out of their own head. This is actual stuff that was found. Within days after opening Crossfire Hurricane, the FBI opened full investigations on 4 members. Again, no information. Nobody knew what the hell was going on. They had nothing. But they opened up investigations on 4 members of the Trump campaign team. George Papadopoulos, Carter Page, Paul Manafort, and Michael Flynn. No defensive briefing was provided, like you just saw as they attached it to the Hillary Clinton stuff, the Clinton campaign, the Clinton Foundation. They did all that stuff, but no defensive briefing was provided to Trump. Not this one. Or anyone in the campaign concerning the information received from Australia that suggested there might have been, probably, coulda, woulda, shoulda, might have been some type of collusion between the Trump campaign and the Russians, either prior to or after these investigations were opened. Meaning the FBI was doing something different. They were handling the Trump situation, the Trump-Russia probe, differently than prior stuff they had investigated. And now it's all coming out. Instead, the FBI began working on requests to use the FISA authorities against Page and Papadopoulos. It continues, folks. We're really getting into this. Hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't already. Our investigation determined that the Crossfire Hurricane investigators did not and could not corroborate any. You know, as it keeps talking about nobody whatsoever, nobody that we could find had anything to do with this. Our investigation determined that the Crossfire investigators did not and could not corroborate any of the substantive allegations contained in the Steele reporting. Nor was Steele able to produce corroboration for any of the reported allegations. They couldn't produce anything. Entire witch hunt. Trump was right. This was a freaking witch hunt. And by the way, they couldn't report or give anything even when they were offered $1 million to do so. It was actually over $1 million by the FBI to give any sort of corroboration. They'll give them $1 million. Hey, you got anything? Could you make anything up for $1 million or more? Oh, you can't do it? Nope, they couldn't. The FBI learned that Steele relied primarily on a U.S.-based Russian national to collect information that ultimately formed the core of the allegations found in the reports. Oh, isn't that just lovely? Specifically, our investigation discovered that this Russian national himself had told another person that the Russian national was responsible for 80% of the intel. But so 80% of the intelligence came from one dude. And 50% of the analysis contained in the Steele dossier, which we know was just corrupt. Oh, is that just so? Basically, all the information was just completely made up, it sounds like. Which we all knew. This isn't anything new, but it's now coming out in a report that's nice to vilify our thinking beforehand. In December 2016, the FBI identified this Russian national as Steele's primary subsource. The Russian national agreed to meet with the FBI, and under the protection of immunity letter, always immunity, the FBI conducted multiple interviews of this person regarding, among other things, the information he provided to Steele, it said. The Russian national was unable to provide any... Here we go again. He was unable to provide any corroborating evidence to support the Steele allegations, and further described his interactions with his subsources as rumor and speculation again, and conversations of a casual nature. You guys must be flipping your lids right now. This is so wild. An entire bureau went after Donald Trump on nothing. And you know what the media's saying about all this? Because I was trying to get as much information as I could because this was just released not too long ago. And they're blowing it. They're just like, oh, there's no bias. Yeah, the FBI's not biased. They just did this and that. Like, totally underplaying what is going on here. And hopefully you don't feel like I'm overplaying this. This is insane. If anything, I should be more animated than what I am. This is nuts. If they're doing this to Trump, what's stopping them from just fabricating information about you and throwing you in the brig? You know, fight. It's just rumor and speculation and conversations of casual nature. I heard it from a birdie. No, it's good enough for me. Let's open an entire investigation. Or I heard it from some random dude that nobody really even knows. One guy. Wow. Significant parts of the Russian national told the FBI were inconsistent with what Steele told the FBI during his prior interviews. They couldn't even match up each other's crap. They're working together on this. They couldn't even get it straight. At no time, however, was the FISC informed of these inconsistencies. Oh, that's just lovely. So again, spider web of information that's not being corroborated with one another, nor that people actually have evidence to support corroboration of whatever the hell they're spewing out there. It's what a bleep storm. What a freaking bleep storm. Moreover, notwithstanding the repeated assertions in the page FISA applications that Steele primarily subsourced was based in Russia. Again, the Russian national for many years who lived in Washington, D.C. area. We're still going. We got a couple more here. A couple more, folks. Hang in there. Fill up your copy if you haven't already, because this is huge. Folks. This literally basically vilifies Trump. Trump been saying it's a witch hunt. Okay, the Clintons, the Bidens, the Obamas, everybody's going after me. Okay, it's the witch hunt. It's the witchiest witch hunt we've ever seen. Okay, they got nothing. Insane. Trump was right. I mean, I didn't doubt the guy. I actually believed it was a witch hunt. But now, again, after years of investigations, now it's coming out. The FBI knew in January 2017 that the Russian national had been the subject of an FBI counterintelligence investigation for 4 years, from 2009 to 2011, or 3 years rather. In late 2008, the Russian national was employed by the Brookings Institute. He engaged 2 fellow employees about whether one of the employees might be willing or able in the future to provide classified information in exchange for money. Because that sounds legal. That sounds real legal. According to one employee, the Russian national believed that he, the employee, might be following a mentor into the incoming Obama administration and have access to classified information. During this exchange, the Russian national informed the employee that he had access to people who were willing to pay for classified information. Oh, that's just lovely. The FBI converted its investigation into a full investigation after the Russian national, 1, had been identified as an associate of 2 FBI counterintelligence subjects, and 2, had previous contact with the Russian embassy and known Russian intelligence officers. At that earlier time, agents had interviewed several former colleagues of this Russian national who raised concerns about the dude and the potential involvement the guy had with Russian intelligence. For example, one of the guy's colleagues who had interned at the U.S. intelligence agency informed the office that the Russian national frequently inquired about the person's knowledge of a specific Russian military matter. Folks, this is breaking. It's a 320-page report. We basically gave you a synopsis. I know it was long, but what the hell? What the hell? And like I said, the media are just like nonchalant about it. Oh, not much there. I mean, literally one guy said, I think it might have been like MSNBC or some left-wing outlet was like, yeah, there was no bias in the FBI. Really? No bias in the FBI? Did you not read Peter Strzok's emails or his text messages? You're telling me there's no bias? They literally started the entire investigation on nothing. On nothing. And you see it time and time again, right? They started an investigation on Donald Trump over a phone call with Zelensky. In the midst of everything that's been going on with Joe Biden for his entire time in politics, where's all the investigations at? Here's the difference, you guys. They opened up an entire investigation on Donald Trump over just, they heard a whisper of something, a whisper from one dude. And at the same time, we literally have Hunter Biden's laptops. You had Obama's emails. You had Eric Holder's emails, Attorney General of Barack Obama at the time. No investigations on that, really. Nothing ever happened to anybody. You have Hillary Clinton's server, like with actual evidence of things that were happening. She scrubbed it. She used bleach spit on the whole thing. And who the hell has a server in their bathroom anyways, in their home? But nothing happens there. No. You have Hunter Biden freaking eating Cheez-Its off the rug and snorting cocaine off a dog's ass, and nothing happens. Nothing. Joe Biden receives millions of dollars. Let's say the Biden family receives like $10+ million from the Chinese and the Romanians. Nothing. Insane. But there's no double standard, you guys. All smoke, no fire. Insane. Let me know what you think about that in the comment section below. Moving into our next story of the day, we got immigration news here for you, folks. And this one's going to make your blood boil because we got an Afghan national on the terror watch list arrested after crossing southern border. But this is all Joe Biden's number one issue, folks. He's gonna figure this out, even though he hasn't figured out a damn thing in 2 years. He can't even figure out his name. Have you noticed that? Like, Joe Biden can't figure out like basic stuff, how to walk properly, how to go up a flight of stairs, how to hit a golf ball forward. Like, the guy can't even do basic things, but somehow we expect this guy to figure out inflation, figure out foreign policy, domestic policy, the border. I mean, the guy again, he can't even figure out how to use the bathroom properly. It's Democrats thinking for you, though, folks. Democrats thinking. Hopefully they change. Hopefully they wake up and like, this guy sucks. At least take another shot on Trump. Trump fixed a lot of stuff from Obama. He fixed a hell of a lot from Obama. We didn't have a lot of these issues that we have right now. Take a gamble, folks. Take a gamble. We'd love to have you on our side of the aisle. An Afghan national on the FBI's terror watch list was arrested Wednesday after stealing across the southern border in San Diego with a platoon of other illegal aliens. You gotta love that language. The platoon. Hey. But DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas said multiple times, border secure, folks. Nothing to see here. We got it all handled for you. We've been working for a year and a half on this, according to him. He's been working a year and a half on the southern border. He hasn't done anything in a year and a half. Border Patrol agents took the suspect along with other migrants who had crossed the border near Otay Mesa, I'm probably mispronouncing that, to a processing center. This was reported according to the New York Post. At the facility, officials determined with a fingerprint scan that the Afghan suspect was on the terror screening database. Folks, I'm not laughing because there's only two routes I can go with this. I could be extremely pissed about this, that terrorists are literally coming through our borders, and luckily this guy was apprehended. What about the ones that weren't apprehended? Or I can laugh about it and be pissed at the same time. Okay? So there's two routes going about it, because it's really unbelievable that you can have the messaging that the border's secure, that the border's not open, but yet you have terrorists being apprehended at the border, but not talk about the ones that are just let loose in the country. And the reason why I talk about not like being let loose and not knowing what's going on is because DHS Secretary, when he's questioned by Congress, specifically in the House of Representatives by Jim Jordan of Ohio, he couldn't answer where he knew where like 130 terrorists were or something like that. There was like a handful of terrorists. It might have been 20 or 30 or something like that. He didn't know where they were. And then he goes on Brett Breyer's show of Fox News. He still don't know. Like, he had 24 hours to figure it out. He's like, they're magnets, Brett. We know where they are. And Brett's like, well, where are they? Oh, well, we know. Oh, sure you do. Sure. Same guy that's telling us the border's secure. We're going to sit there and trust that he actually knows where all these terrorists are. And now terrorists are being apprehended at the border. So after the 9/11 attacks in the United States, various terrorism watch lists were consolidated to form the TSDB, which has information on people reasonably suspected of being involved in terrorism. And you have to imagine, we know of probably about 150 terrorists that were apprehended at the border, at least caught. We know that there's probably about 1 million to 1.5 million gotaways, somewhere in that ballpark, since Joe Biden's been in office. Even if it was a fraction of a percent, you have terrorists in the country right now that want to do harm to you and your family. That's there's no political side to that. That is Democrat, Republican, Independent. They don't like you. Okay. As much as Democrats and Republicans, we don't get along here and because we're kind of fighting with one another because for some reason we don't have our energy focused on one common enemy that actually wants to destroy us. You have a common enemy that's a sleeper cell right now in this country that wants to harm you, regardless of your skin color, regardless of your political affiliation. They want to harm you. We need to stick together as Americans and say this is not a good thing. And that's why you need to build a border wall. Figure it out. We can have people come in legally. Hey, we could do it process. Let's work on that together. But this is not good. Democrat, Republican, this is not good. You can't be having terrorists. I know it's common sense, but you can't be having terrorists in your country that sit there and want to blow you and your family up. It hasn't been, I know it seems like 9/11 was so long ago where we unified as a country against a common enemy that wants to sit there and destroy you, that killed thousands of people. Very possible something like that can happen again. Very, very possible. Well, also in continuation with the illegal immigration news, you got an elementary school gym that was turned into a migrant shelter despite the community going back and pushing back against them. Yeah, so you have veterans being kicked out of hotels to be replaced by illegal immigrants that shouldn't be there in the first place. You got people serving in Iraq and Afghanistan. Those were the guys that were being kicked out of the hotels. Guys that actually served this country in war-torn countries. And now they're getting the boot, being told to sleep on the streets. You got foundations trying to find homes with them, but the foundations are being outcompeted by the migrants. If you haven't seen that story, I highly recommend you go through our video catalog. It was just the other day. I think it was Sunday's episode or something like that, or Saturday. Insane stuff. So now they're taking over school gyms. A Coney Island elementary school gym has been converted into a temporary shelter for at least 75 migrants, despite outrage from local residents. I'd be so curious if Coney Island is predominantly Democrat because you're getting what you vote for. You're getting what you vote for. I hope it's not a Republican area because Republicans don't vote for this. And if you are, you're a knucklehead. Knucklehead. Don't vote for this stuff. It's nuts. 2 days prior, by voting for it, I mean voting in Joe Biden because Joe Biden caused this mess. Very, very rarely, you guys, does a president really cause something. Like when we talk about Joe Biden's economy, that's a very loose statement in totality in terms of the Biden economy, because there's so many things that Joe Biden doesn't really, as the president, can't really seep his hands and his paws into. I know that we say that a lot, but Joe Biden really did cause this mess at the southern border because it's his job as the executive branch to execute the laws in the books, and he's not willing to do it. He'll tell you he's willing to do it, but he's not. So 2 days prior to the migrants' arrival, parents were informed by PS 188 principal Leslie King that the school's gym was chosen as one of the emergency temporary sites to house individuals and families who are seeking asylum. I was also told, and I have to confirm this, that when somebody enters in the country and they're given a court date, they are supposed to go to family members. That was my understanding. So I don't know why these people aren't being housed with their families, or they said their families are here, but I'm not sure. So King's letter, the principal, sent a letter to parents noting that several families will be utilizing the standalone gym at your school on a short-term basis. Republican New York City Council member Ari Kagan called the city's notification process totally unacceptable and noted that no time frame regarding when the facility would be returned to the school was given. So now it's impacting your tax dollars at work. What's next to classrooms? The lunchroom? When we start giving them free lunches from the classroom? Or should I say the school in general? Maybe. Who knows? It's all speculation, but who knows? Maybe they will. Free sandwiches, milk, all that stuff. Oh yeah, no, give it to them. New York's doing it. What's stopping this school district from doing it? New York built shelters for these migrants, giving them 3 meals a day, catered to their culture. It's not like you're giving them 3 meals like, hey, just be happy you got food. It's catered to their culture from where they're at, like what country you're from. So you get laundry services. We talk about this all the time. Laundry services, Xbox, TVs, Netflix, streaming services, phones, bedding, clothing, showers, air conditioning, all this stuff while our vets sleep on the streets. Why our vets that actually serve this country and our freedoms, gave us our freedom, at least protected those freedoms for being instituted, and that we still have the right to them. They're sleeping on the streets. Isn't that just lovely? Biden doesn't care. Biden was the same guy that threw all our military guys in a freaking parking garage. You remember that? And Trump's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Why are you in the parking garage? Why are you out here? Why don't you come in my luxurious hotel, have some cookies and coffee? Okay. Trump opens his doors. This is the way Joe Biden and Democrats run things. The community board, 13 office staff, had been struggling all day to get the most basic information from various agencies regarding how many people will be housed there. For what length of time, whether the individuals have been screened for communicable diseases, what measures are in place to provide services, the board wrote in a statement. You know what's crazy? Is that usually in a school system, you have to be fingerprinted and processed and do FBI and DOJ background checks just to be like around children, but they're just allowing it. I could be wrong here. I don't know if these people are being fingerprinted, processed, background checks, like from the DOJ and the FBI to be around children in a gym. Is the school open right now? I mean, there's a lot of questions to be had here, and I imagine they are. The school is open if there's backlash coming from the parents, but or just the community at large. It's crazy. Kagan accused Democratic Mayor Eric Adams' administration of intentionally keeping residents in the dark. This is why they didn't notify people. They didn't even notify them because they knew the community would be against it. Oh, is that just lovely? Surprise! Surprise! This is nuts. Democratic City Council member Justin Brannon called the location puzzling and noted on Sunday that it's still unclear how long they will need to stay. Oh, the Democrats just ruin our country from the inside out. We're going to plug the book, folks. We got to plug the book. Trojan Horse, How the Left is Destroying America, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Walmart. You can get it online, folks. We are going to be doing signed copies. I set up, it's not published yet, but I have set up signed copies. There will be signed copies of the book that you'll be able to get from baldbrad.com. You'll be able to order from there, and I will ship it out from my area. I got to kind of get the nuances. I'm going to open up a P.O. box. So there'll be a couple ways you can get a book signed. If you already purchased a book, there will be a fee to do a signed copy. You could send it to my P.O. box. I'll sign it, and then I'll mail it back out to you. So there'll be like a $20 fee to that, just so I can pay for shipping and everything. And then if you want to buy a signed copy, $50 for hardcover. I'm not making a ton of money off this, folks. Again, I'm doing this all in-house. I got to buy the copies myself. I got to sign them. Then I got to do shipment. So it's not like I'm going to be making a killing off this. So please don't feel like I'm ripping you off. I'm not. I'm trying to break even on it. And then the paperback will be available as well for signed copies, and that's $40. So we'll figure that out. My hope is to get it done by this week. So starting by this weekend or sooner, we can get the signed copies out to you, and you guys can ship them here, and we'll sign them. You can all sorts of things. So we'll get that squared away for you. But join us here at the Bald Brad Show. We'd love to have you become a true American patriot. We got a lot of people joining us. Become part of the community here, so we can do even more things with our community as we continue to grow. That's it. Hit that like and subscribe button. Leave us a comment down below, and folks, we'll see you tomorrow here on the Bald Brad Show.